Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to one of our Marvel Rivals Ignite Open Qualifier for Qualifier number 1. We are in the Oceania region today, and we have another qualifying game, aka a quarter-final. Winner will qualify for Marvel Rivals Ignite, play for that Oceania prize pool, and will be able to try and compete in those international tournaments when they come around, the mid-season and those grand finals. Big thank you to Mania for sending in these replays. I have been on a scavenger hunt to find these replays due to the fact that NetEase decided to wipe all the tournament replays to make it very helpful, and it didn't even allow these ones to be accessible even before they wiped them because they've decided to run these games in private custom lobbies instead of, you know, in lobbies we can watch the games on. So these games just would have been lost to time if some of these players hadn't been very nice and sent them in. So let's jump on into our game as I give a quick shout out to our newest member and our current members. Big shout out to Dump Alt for jumping on in and becoming a member to help support the channel. And our other members are Lucas Tyson, Arso, Doki Pokey, and John. Thank you all for helping support the channel. You can support the channel as well by becoming a member to get videos early and get your name shouted out. Or if you want to send a single donation instead of paying monthly, you can just hit that thanks button. If you want to support for absolutely nothing, watch these videos all the way through with AdBlock off or YouTube Premium, or you can just like, comment, and subscribe. All of these help boost the video in the algorithm, which means more people watch it, which means more ad revenue, which means you have been helpful. So thank you everyone who jumps on in and decides to help by watching. As we are heading in. Ah, I'm so excited. Let's get this going. We're starting off with many Hulk hovers from the side of Ground Zero. It is Ground Zero versus Pig Team. This is a best of 3, and we're starting off on Krakoa. I'm recording this on the 29th, meaning we are just around the corner from the new patch. I'm also recording a little bit later than I would be normally due to the fact that I wanted to record this about an hour ago, but I had a power cut that actually stopped me recording. So I'm now recording a little bit later in the day. Wolverine. Invisible Woman. Yeah, Groot slipping through the ban phase so far, even with that Wolverine ban. Amazed that Pig Team did not decide to remove that, but they have instead put their focus onto the Emma Frost. So far, the protections onto Loki, Groot, and Winter Soldier, with Pig Team about to save their second character. They choose Rocket. With Groot on the board, Rocket plus Punisher can actually get a lot of value. High rate of fire, decent damage output, blow up the walls. With Loki on the board, they decide to ban out Luna Snow. With Luna Snow and the Invisible Woman both being taken away, it certainly lowers the capabilities of those Loki clones. The Cosmic Yard Amplifier from Rocket, the ultimate, is still going to be extremely powerful as an option, and if not, Cloak and Dagger will definitely fill in that gap with the Eternal Bond. Punisher was the final ban. That is extremely sensible from Ground Zero. We just talked about it with the Rocket. If you don't have these tools that can blow up the Wolverine, blow up that Groot like the Wolverine, then you kind of have to resort to something that can get through the walls and potentially isolate them. Winter Soldier is a no-brainer, as you can at least try and isolate Groot by landing a bionic hook onto them. But instead, we are going to be seeing a Moon Knight for Pig Team, giving them some potential to try and lock down their opponents with maximum damage output. Those deflecting auto attacks to really get some maximum damage output here. The primary fire. And of course those Uggs behind a Groot wall can really do some damage to people around corners, which can be extremely effective. A Thorn is being hovered here by Whoosh. Speaking of which, let's introduce the teams because we have not met a lot of these players. On the left-hand side, in the blue trunks, it is Ground Zero with Zen Starry on the Groot, Tuna Squared on the Hella, FMCL will be on that Winter Soldier, Duep will be playing Magneto, Matiaf. Big shout out to them again. Say thank you, Matiaf, in the comments for sending in this replay. They are on the Loki, and King Bob 7 on the Cloak and Dagger. And on the right-hand side, in the red trunks, it is Pig Team with Lick playing the Cloak and Dagger. Joji going to be on the Winter Soldier. Incredible bionic hook into the Soldier's fist. trying to take out that regeneration domain lantern, but there's so many up in the air. In the meantime, we have Runkler Bonting currently trying to keep the team topped up as there's a lot of damage being traded here as Ground Zero have got a double elimination as Joji will respawn. Down goes Runker. JJ is on that Moon Knight currently trying to back up as they don't want to get caught out of position, getting chased down by the attacking team here. Whoosh will be on that Thorn as we already talked about, and Rez is on the Groot as Ground Zero take the first percentage points. 2 to squared is terrifying on this Hella. It was bad out for them in some of the earlier games. So now just trying to create some distance. Arc comes out, quickly cleaned out. JJ, as we already talked about, those ricocheting shots. They will do some pretty effective damage output. They already have Fist of Khonshu. A little bit of shot, trying to wait for a straggling prison or something like that. But already Rez has been taken down once again. Eternal Bond to make some space to try and push on in. Not finding the finishing blow though. Mariaf used a God of Mischief to also try and set up as Whoosh forced to retreat here. Lick dropped low, returns at the BRB, and Whoosh chased down here. Picked off by Duep, who is once again helping their team chase back Pig Team all the way to spawn as Ground Zero are giving zero ground right now, not letting anyone get close to that point. 65% to 0 currently in favor of Ground Zero. Ground Zero have the second highest final performance in a lovely blow by JJ in an MRC. FMCL, Kraken Impact, it's a triple, looking to make it a quad. There's that Cosmic Yard Amplifier though, will prevent a lot of the burst damage. Moon Knight is still trying to trade the damage back and forth. The highest performance from an ANZ team is Kanga Esport. From an ANZ player, it is Influenza G, who have 2 Australian players. Kanga Esports with the highest full Oceanic team performance. But Ground Zero close behind them. Mud Dog is also quite high up there, but Ground Zero have the second highest performance here as round number 1 though goes over to them. And Pig Team starting to struggle a little bit with some of this early momentum. As we head to the cradle, can they recover? Just like my power from earlier, can my power recover? Duep has been doing an incredible job on this Magneto. If we look at the statistics, it's had 3 final hits. FMCL with 5. 10 eliminations for Zen, Starry, Duep, and FMCL. So far, only 1 person has gone down, JJ, who picked up 2 to squared report for feeding. Top damage has also gone over to JJ, 8.7k. 2k higher than literally anyone else in the game is doing everything they can. They also have not been taken out yet. But a team is not just a single, well, in the case of Moon Knight, it's not just 3 extremely angry men. It is a team effort. As they make their way to the point to try and start turning this game around. Some shots pre-firing. Seeing if they can catch anyone out. You can see a little bit of deflect there, spreading that damage. Shots a straggling prison. Right off the bat here. Meteor M up to the high ground, but sniped out of the air. Duep making sure that every single person has been taken out at least once now this game. FMCL gets another double. Looking for more. But instead it's just going to get Loki clones, as that is going to be nice cloak to get out of danger as Lick will get taken out. And Ground Zero take the point once again in this game number 1. 2 to squared is still sending in quite a few hits. JJ re-sieging. Punishing anyone who steps out. If 1 person shows up, it's bad news for everyone. They're going to make their way in. They no longer have Strangling Prison. They're going to go in with the Fist of Conjure right off the bat here. But already it's a big disengage. Everyone is able to get out of danger, especially with that regeneration domain buying a little bit of time. Tuna trading some of the shots here. Lick with the Eternal Bond finds the gap in the group walls as they make their way in. Zenstari, Strangling Prison, 4 to set a Meteor M, but Wosh is unable to find the full target. FMCL has already managed to get one Kraken impact reset, looks for the second, finds it, and it's going to be yet another team cleanup. One person left on the point, but they're going to get taken down nice and quickly. Loki makes their way back in to try and reinforce. Soldier's Fist and the Tainted Shock for the finishing blow.
Always glad to help, partner.
And ground zero. They are in control right now. 67% and Pig Team are on the back foot. Whoosh. On this Magneto, making their way back in. The Thorn has been abandoned a little bit earlier. They just can't find the right angle. But they're still going to try and make their way in, taking out those group walls. The Thorn Lash walls. Try to push on in. Try to find the right angle. Here comes that God of Mischief into an Eternal Bond from Mariaf to keep the team topped up. There is a Strangling Prison at the ready for Rez, which might be needed. He's pulled out of the regeneration domain. Strangling Prison onto the backliners, trapping everyone in place, but there's no follow-up as they are going to be taken down. Joji finds one, Tudor squared, looking for some resets onto some Loki clones. If they can get that, then their team might be back in it. They heal back up to full, but taken out immediately by FMCL. King Bob with the Eternal Bond, and this might just be another Reset City chain. FMCL not finding the reset there, getting absolutely countered. That's a Fist of Khonshu. JJ with the triple, make it a quad, make it a quintuple. It's gonna be a team wipe as Tuna was taken out earlier, and with the portal reinforcement on 99%, Pig Team come back, and JJ wipes the board with the help of the full engage of Rez on that Strange, and they have the point. They're turning it round, but they've got a hold for a full 100%. This is not gonna be easy. JJ showing the power of Moon Knight. We don't see it often these days, but bringing it out. Ugh. Directly onto the point. Soldier's Fist has to be used for a disengage. Tainted Shock spreading the damage output across the board. Regeneration domain so they can try and break the line with the extra healing. Here comes the Goddess of Death for Tuna, but already getting taken down. Wosh does not find a Meteor M. That's a Strangling Prison onto some of the backliners, as that is a triple, quadruple, quintuple, and poor JJ is all that's left. They're gonna back up, but backing up does not do much for him here. They have to teleport to get back onto the point. Not making it in time. And that's going to be the 2-0 in map number 1, going over to ground 0. Ground 0. Taking the first map, bringing themselves one step closer to qualifying for Marvel Rivals Ignite for the Oceania region. MVP goes over to Matty Aff, only getting taken out one time. Tied lowest with FMCL, Duep, and Zenstari. JJ still managed to stay alive quite often. Only getting taken out 3 times and getting 6 final hits. Most of them were in that final fight. Top final hits does go over to FMCL. 13 of those. And top eliminations, 23 tied with Zenstari. Top damage, unsurprisingly, with that performance, goes over to JJ, especially with the fact that they have been doing a lot of that bounce damage with those ricochets. Not too surprising to see that they have the top damage output. Top damage blocks, probably the person who's been eating all of those Moon Knight hits. It's gonna be Zenstari. 29k damage blocks, 3k more than Rez. They were able to hold that very nicely. Almost 30k. Speaking of almost 30k, top healing goes over to our MVP, Maniaf, with 28k healing, 5k more than Lick, and almost 8k more than Runkler Bonting. King Bob really struggling with the healing output here. Only 13k, half of Maniaf, over half of Maniaf. Sorry, under half. I can talk today. Madiaf doing an insane job, though. 3 eliminations. 17 eliminations, 3 final hits. And the fact is, King Bob, if they only got that much healing with 93% accuracy, then their team was just tanking so much that it might not have been needed that much. Madiaf did the healing so much that King Bob was just kind of left to just heal up any stragglers and, of course, to help track Tuna when they went on flanking missions. Very interesting. Fun to see. That's game number 1, ladies and gentlemen. Let me get us set up for map number 2. Oh, my headset cable's in front of me. How unprofessional. What a disaster. Here we go. Get that set up, because once again, I've been sent back to the main menu. I'm out of town tomorrow, which is why so many videos are up early for members, because I need to be out and about, so I'm not going to be here to upload videos. After this, I have to record, or I have to edit all the shorts. Alright, map number 2, Yggdrasil Path will be our second setup. Also, it is 21:33 right now, and apparently the people will find out who, like, is it part of the Marvel Rivals caster program at, like, 12 PDT? Or 10 PDT, I can't remember which one it was, on the 30th. Meaning that I find out, like, soon. So, if you see, check out my socials to see if I got it. If I'm allowed to say, I'll say. Alright, let's head on in to game number 2. Ground 0, 1-0 up over Pig Team. Ground 0 starting off on defense. Pig Team on attack on Yggdrasil Path. Wolverine and Loki banned away here, targeting Madiaf. But that means that the Human Torch has been let through. Invisible Woman being protected. Pig Team leaning into it. Both these teams are hard committed to the Human Torch playstyle here. This also still leaves Groot up. It leaves the Incredible Hulk with the Namor Iron Man. Hela going to be taken out. They're removing the counters for Human Torch. Oh god. This is going to be terrifying. Ground 0. What do we see? They ban Captain America. They want their backliners to remain safe while their Human Torch, well, burns it down. Seth Rollins style. Groot protected again. Oh, man. Human Torch, Groot. Captain America was banned. These are some of the most common bans in the current rotation. Iron Fist was banned a lot at the start of this tournament, but has kind of been left at the wayside. Moving into the latter stages. And the Hulk is protected here. Will Ground 0 capitalize on that and ban out someone like an Iron Man or a Namor who could try and counteract that Human Torch? And with the Hulk on the board, they choose to remove someone who can be very punishing for divers. They remove Emma Frost, Diamond Form, can really lock down people like the Hulk and make it a lot harder for them to get away. The Hulk likes to hit and run, dive in, do damage, indestructible guard, dive out. Rocket taken out of action once again. Punisher slipped all the way through, so we're at least going to take away one of the big empowerments for him. Rocket off the board. Groot, Winter Soldier, Human Torch. This is all pretty expected here. Joji is considering running that Punisher. Punisher is a hit scan character who can do extremely high damage output with a high rate of fire. Even without Rocket, can be extremely deadly to flyers, but Winter Soldier into Groot is very strong at actually, you know, eliminating Groot. But isn't as good at clearing out Groot walls. So there is a little benefit to both of them here. And we do have a slight difference in the two composition here, as Runkler going to be going for the Cloak and Dagger instead of that Lunar Snow like Ground 0 is. Madiaf on Lunar Snow. Runkler going for a little bit of auto-target healing instead of having to rely on Snowflake to keep JJ topped up. Healing output's a little bit slower when it comes to burst healing, but that healing output can still be quite nice. Tuna. Sending in some shots. FMCL was insane in game number 1. Now looking to mirror that success in game number 2 with a different character. Putting 2-2 on that Winter Soldier instead. Pyro Prison melts through melts through Wosh, sorry, with the help of Duop. JJ trading as well, doing some great damage of their own here. But they're not able to find any finishing blows as of yet. Both the Human Torches are a little too far away from each other to actually trade into some actual eliminations here. The card is moving forward. Pig team are approaching the first corner, but this is where a lot of pushes start to break down. When they set up these defensive positions, when they put themselves in control. Shots onto the point. Dueb. Gonna be sidestepped. Invisible boundary for King's Bomb. Countered by Lick. FMCL dived in deep with a Flaming Meteor. Takes out Rez. Supernova gonna be committed as they try and take out the retreating members to stagger them here. Chasing them all the way back to spawn. 1 down, 2 down. Flaming Meteor and looking for Magneto on the final push. But Magneto is able to get behind the wall. Wosh dropped low but will get healed back up. Setting up a little bit of damage. Pyro Prison damaging them all on the way out. Doing so much damage here. Tuna set up for a Kraken impact. Same for Joji. JJ maximizing damage output. That's going to be another Pyro Prison to set up maximum damage. That's going to be an incredible attempt at a straggling prison, but not able to find a lot of the targets. Media M to block out partially that Supernova. Gets one. Joji goes down with the Kraken impact of Tuna, finding a second. JJ is getting rushed down here. Did not play evasive maneuvers as FMCL ran it in here. Finds another elimination and is now deep, playing hyper aggressive. Once you're close range, those shotgun-like blasts off that Human Torch can be incredibly hard to deal with and can be a great burst tool. Good at long range, good at close range. What has a shield when they dive, thinking which they can dive. They have crowd control. What can't this guy do? Doing some great damage back there. Supernova coming in, shots, committing everything to the blast as Joji came in with a Kraken impact. Wosh finds the Meteor M onto Maniaf, removing a big chunk of that burst protection. FMCL was able to get Ronka though on the counter. Both teams losing their Lunar Snow as that's going to be a triple, quadruple, and Joji looking to finish off Duet. Finds it, and that is huge for Pig Team. The cart moves in with 1 minute to go. Do Ground Zero swap to a Strange to try and hold this? Tuna says yes. Tuna says no. Tuna says yes. But did they just wait too long? Cart's moving. 2, 1, 1 meter to go. They're able to make it in time. Fate of both worlds immediately for Maniav. To find his extra seconds, Joji will fall. And they're forced off the point with 35 seconds left. Pig Team are getting wiped here. JJ in full retreat. They have 30 seconds. It might be time for a portal of their own. 20 seconds to go. Jay sieging in, sending in as many shots as they can. Eye of Agamotto already charged for Tuna. Red sitting in the shots. 9 seconds. Fate of both worlds has to be dropped. Eye of Agamotto from above. Stuns 3 of the backliners, but that Fate of both worlds from Rocker is keeping the team top straggling prison. But who's on the point? It's JJ. But they go down. Overtime is beginning to tick down as Rez will charge on in. It's currently a 2 for 2. Joji gets the double. Looks for more. Is chasing deep. Takes out the Luna. Kraken impact. Tries to take it and will find FMCL. And Pig Team in overtime are going to claim point number 1 and keep their dreams alive. Cutting that one really close. The Groot walls cutting off this straggling prison. Zen Starry just put everything on the line to try and keep the enemy off the point. But JJ is the one who actually pulled the trigger, dropping a flaming meteor for a little bit of overhealth and to get to the point in time to hold overtime for just a second. Enough time for Rez to touch the point. Media M with visible boundaries. They push on in, looking to try and direct it onto the Lunar Snow, but no, going to get completely blocked out here. Wosh is getting walled off. Fate of both worlds pushing them back. They're in full retreat. Wosh is so far away from the rest of their team here. But Magnetic Curtain, they're still going to get locked down. Just completely isolated. And JJ moving over to this Star-Lord, not finding much success as of yet. The main plan here will definitely be to try and duel FMCL. Spore Bomb for some good damage. But losing that Human Torch, is that the value they want? Supernova at the ready. Cracking impact. Galactic Legend! If they can take them out during the Supernovas, that could be good. Forces out the invisible boundary. Divido's extra couple seconds, 46 HP left, but Kraken impact. Tuna is wiping them off the board here, chasing them back. JJ makes it back into spawn again, but that's another team wipe with a minute left to go. And FMCL, once again, Pyro Prison. Closing out the entrance, making it so that everyone exits a little bit damaged. Much harder for them to step up. Lick keeping the team topped up as best as they can, but already so much damage. JJ getting force pulled in by King Bomb, taken out. Meteor Emperor do up to absorb some of that damage. Sends it in, not able to find a finishing blow. Forced to use that Iron Bulwark. Mariaf returns with the Fate of Both Worlds with 20 seconds to go. That's 12 seconds of it being utilized by that Fate of Both Worlds. That's enough to drive back Pig Team. And JJ has once again, back on the Human Torch, found themselves in a situation where they might have to solo dive to keep their team in this. 5, 4, 3. You got to make the play. It's going to be Spider-Man. Joji touches for overtime. What a sacrifice there. It's going to allow JJ, though, to make their way back in. Flaming Media onto the backline. Gives them a little bit of overhealth to buy some time for their team. Overtime is ticking down. Who's left? Invasive maneuvers. JJ is moving around as fast as they can, but no one else can touch. Ronka trying to rush in, but that is going to be 1.61 meters, 33 centimeters. That is all that stands between Ground Zero and the Marvel Rivals Ignite. Pig Team. They did pretty okay, pushing a little bit under halfway. This is definitely assailable. But the pressure is on. Ground Zero now looking to try and push in for the, what could be, final push here. Pig Team have to pull out all the stops. They're going to stick with the same strategy. Full mirror match here as Ronkler did move over to that Lunar Snow. If Pig Team can hold this, then we are heading to a map number 3 and they still have a shot. If Ground Zero win this, they qualify and Pig Team will have to try again in qualifier number 2, which, at the time of me recording, is still going on. At the time of you watching, might be over. Sending in some shots. Something a little bit early. FMCL and JJ, of course, trading a couple shots here, dueling. Instead, Starry getting healed up very nicely. Pyro Prison on the ramp, making it harder to step up here. Wosh is in the front line, leading the line. Bionic Hook to pull them in. I must have hit fast forward there. No, that's just how fast that was going. They were just moving so fast, I thought I was fast forward for a second. Tuna's pushing in. Chasing them deep into that long hallway. There's almost no cover. And this cart is moving in. And Pig Team, they're not doing what we saw from Ground Zero, swapping over to a Strange to try and save the point. And as such, they're not going to be able to stop it. That's quite a lot of space that they just gave up here by not committing to a portal re-engage. Choosing to save it or just not use it at all, because you don't know when you're going to get another chance. FMCL with the Supernova into that invisible boundary. We're going to take a lot of damage themselves as JJ will Magic Kite straggling prison from Zenstari. Meteor M and Kraken Impact is going to wipe Pink Team off the board. Kraken Impact trying to fight onto JJ, but JJ will get sniped down by Tuna Squared. That finish line is pushing in, and ground zero, they see the finish line. Joji, Kraken Impact to get there faster. What a play here. They go down though. Jungler tries to rush in with Fade of both ones. No one swapped to Strange. No one portaled in. And that is GG. Ground zero. They win. They take the 2-0. They are moving on to Marvel Rivals Ignite. What a qualification. FMCL taking the MVP this time. 2-0. Ground zero will be making their way into Ignite, joining teams like Kanga Esports, like Platinum Star, who are already qualified from MRC and MRI performances. Sorry, from just MRI performances. Let's look at some of those statistics. Top eliminations. FMCL, 41 eliminations. Least amount of times getting eliminated. It is a 6-way tie between the entirety of Ground Zero. Most final hits. FMCL going to be pipped at the post ever so slightly as Tuna gets 3 more final hits with 18. Top damage, easily FMCL. Well, JJ did pretty okay with 23. FMCL did 35,000. That is as much damage as Zenstari tanked, and they didn't even tank the most. That job goes over to Rez with 41k damage blocked, but they did go down 9 times. So while that damage blocked is very high, if you compare that to Zenstari, who got eliminated 4 times less, it's not a viable, valuable difference here. And top healing. Is it going to be Mariaf again? No, Mariaf is pipped at the post by Lick. 34k to Mariaf's 33k, beating them by just 1,600. And with that, we have another team qualified for the Oceania region, and I am about to go. Make sure to follow my my socials in the description below and my Twitch, as we've hit our 5,000 sub goal. Thank you so much. Subs on YouTube, which means I will be starting to stream on Twitch. MRC especially, I'll be doing a lot of that, but I'm going to be streaming this coming week, so by the time you're watching this, which is Sunday? Yeah, this should be a Sunday video. The video for that, tomorrow will be the news, which I'll be returning on Sunday and then editing immediately. Returning on Monday and then editing immediately. So return, edit, record. And then on Tuesday, depending on how I feel, I'll either stream then or Wednesday. And I'll be streaming some of the qualifier number 2 games, assuming that the replays have not been wiped again. Who knows? Otherwise, I'll be trying to look through some of the comments that you have all sent in for me to cast your game. So we'll see what I can come up with here. For now, though, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching. Congratulations to Ground Zero Esports. I have been Tetcher. Make sure to have a wonderful rest of your day. Subscribe, like, comment, etc. And I will see you all tomorrow.